Anna Bellinghausen, Jacob Padilla back with you, talking some Nebraska volleyball. 2 sweeps over the weekend for this number 1 ranked team. Jacob, let's start with a top 25 matchup in Utah. They gave them a test there, a 4-set win for Nebraska. What did you take away most from that one?
Yeah, Utah played really well in the first set. Nebraska did not, and I don't know what the conversation was in between sets, but man, did they flip the switch in set 2. And that's the impressive thing about this team so far, is like they haven't been perfect start to finish there, but like they've started slow quite often, whether it's in sets, whether it's in matches, but every time they found a way to turn it around and fix what's been going wrong, to elevate their play. And that's the mark of a great team that can go do something special, is even when you're not playing your best, things aren't coming easily, you work through it and you find a way to change the way the match is going. And that's probably, I think, the biggest takeaway from that match and from the season as a whole so far, and why Nebraska is still sitting here at 8-0, despite, again, having a couple of stretches there where it's like they're not playing Nebraska volleyball in their words. But they found a way to get back to doing so.
Yeah. And how about the ability for DBK, again, to make that change at Libero between Laney and Olivia Mauk? Just what are the differences in those 2 Liberos, and why do you think that change keeps happening?
Yeah, and Danny talked about it. She just it's passing reasons particularly, and we talk about that in serve-receive. That's how you have to start every point, and if you can't handle it, it's hard to do anything else. Like that's the first thing you have to do in every point, unless you're serving. But Olivia is the stronger passer, and that's been the case throughout her career. We know how dynamic Laney is as a defender, and she's improved passing, but there are times like in that Kentucky match where Laney just got into a rut and needed to make a change there to get them out of that. And it wasn't as dramatic in this one, they made the change after not necessarily after the first set, but they worked into it just because she liked the passing matchups, and that's something else she did. She changed rotations where they started in a different rotation to get Rebecca Alec matched up with Cameron Jabadlo, Utah's star player who went off in the first set. She had 7 kills in the first set, 4 kills, hit negative the last 3 sets. So that, again, it shows the ability, the flexibility that Danny Busby-Kelly has with his roster just to tinker with rotations to get the matchups they want. And that's part of it too. She said it wasn't necessarily like, that Laney was doing terribly passing. She just liked the matchups a little bit better, putting Olivia in that spot. And then again, Laney went out and continued as a defensive specialist and played well in that role. And that's something she mentioned where like it's such a luxury to have both of them, and the fact that they can make that change mid-match and there's no let up, and even it produces results, and they potentially even play better after they happen. But so that's ultimately what it comes down to is, okay, what does the team need more in this moment? Do you need Laney's infectious personality, her energy, her crazy plays, or do you need more the steady, the calm serve receive of Olivia Mauk to start a set? And regardless of which way they do, the other one's still going to play. It's just you're playing 5.5 rotations, or you playing 3.
Yeah. Well, we saw a vastly different lineup for that GCU matchup. 4 freshmen, I believe, got the start in that one. Olivia Mauk notably at Libero. Maisie Bosinger got her first start as a Husker. What did you make of the lineup changes and how that all came together?
It's pretty hilarious listening to Danny Busby-Kelly give her explanation after the match. Like, yeah, my assistants were talking about it, and I was like, nah, we're not going to do that. We're not going to sit our All-Americans, and went to bed and then woke up. I was like, actually, let's do it. something changed overnight, and she decided to give them a chance, and they went out there and performed. I mean, how many times have we heard the players talk about how competitive the B-side is in practice, and we got to see a lot of the B-side players out there on the court, and it ended up in another sweep, and there was obviously dominant first set, 25-12, and it was really cool for Bosinger. Really nice serving run early in that game to kind of give Nebraska control of the set, and happy for her to get that opportunity. But second set, they had to face some adversity. It was tight. They were down. They had to take the lead. They cut it down to 1. So feeling the pressure, 24-23, set point, can you execute? They go out and win the point. I think they get a block on it. So she called the timeout at like 23-21, I think, and then Grand Canyon made the run, cut it down to 1, and instead of she still had another timeout, she decided to let them roll and see if they could figure it out on their own, even though she did not want to drop that set and have to go forward. She wanted to take care of business, but she had trust in her team and wanted to give them a chance to work through that stressful situation. And that's exactly what they did.
Mm-hmm. I think Terea Sigler said it best post-game, too, of just, hey, it doesn't matter if you're a freshman or you're a 4-year starter, you are expected the same in terms of standard on the court. And I think that's what you truly saw. Like, you can say that all you want as a freshman, like, oh, I'm up to that standard, whatever, but it's another thing to actually go out and prove it against a GCU team that obviously has had success in their own right, too, and to sweep them, like, for those freshmen to be able to handle that moment and compose themselves so well, I mean, hats off to them. Terea Sigler had her first double-double. Like, future's bright.
And that was part of it, too, is Terea played all 6 rotations instead of split in time. She's done that a little bit. The results haven't been great in terms of production offensively. She's still kind of figuring that out. She got a little bit in the Kentucky match, and then was it Wright State that I think it was where she got to play a bit at like a full set or whatever at 6 rotations, but played a full match and produced 14 kills, 11 digs. Her first double-double, hit 267. So on high volume as the number one, I mean, she had 30 swings. Nobody else had more than 17. So they were feeding her, and she's starting to become a little bit more of a threat offensively. And Busby Kelly talked about that, how she's just kind of been a power hitter and used to being able to just power through whatever block, whatever defense they throw at her. Now she's starting to figure out how to be a little bit more crafty with her shots, a little bit better with her shot selection as she gets to have more reps going up against these Division I teams playing at the net. So it's good to see. I think that's, again, another building block for her as a player, a confidence builder. Like, all right, I can do this. This is what works if I'm in this role. And that's an option that Busby Kelly wants to develop to have down the road. If Landfair's just not having the kind of day that you want to see out of her, don't feel like going to Pierce in that spot, maybe you do need to turn to Sigler playing all 6 rotations, and she's got to be ready, if that is the case, to perform and to help the team. And I think this match will help her in that regard.
Do you think we saw any clarity for the other attacking options beyond Harper, Rebecca, those two?
Not really. I think it's still been kind of up and down. We're seeing, again, Sigler start maybe showing a little signs. Virginia Adriano had 8 kills, 3-12 in this one. So it's another positive performance for her offensively. So that's, 3 out of her last 4 or something, I think now, where she's done well offensively after the really slow start, hitting negative in the first 4 matches. So I don't, in terms of, all right, this is our solidified, our number 3 hitting option. I don't know if we're there yet, but you don't necessarily need it with the middle blockers perform. I mean, again, Andy Jackson will continue to kind of get back to what we're used to seeing from her. Rebecca Alec was fantastic. She was their leading point scorer, 13 kills against Utah. And I mentioned how impactful she was defensively on Jabadlo. So, this question is secondary hitting options, kind of passing. And Busby Kelly said, like, hey, part of why she wanted to make this lineup change, this dramatic shift in this match, is she's not anticipating a lot more of these opportunities to do that. I think we're getting to the point now in the season where you're going to probably settle more into the rotation, and there'll be a night off here or there for rest reasons. Hopefully no injuries will force her hand in that regard, but we're probably not going to see as much dramatic subbing and rotation as we have so far. I think she wants to get into a rhythm where, all right, this is what it's going to be. And then I think that some of that stuff will kind of take care of itself a little bit as the players get to play together more consistently and settle into those roles. But passing and kind of the secondary hitting options are probably the 2 areas that you could hope for most improvement for this team that's unanimous number 1 and 8-0. Yeah. So hard to find too many nits to pick, but I guess those would probably be the ones.
Well, a big test upcoming at CHI Health Center on Tuesday. Nebraska travels to Omaha to play Creighton. Last time this matchup went 5 sets in Lincoln, but it looks vastly different this year, especially on the Creighton side. No Norsis, no Kendra Waite, a new head coach in Brian Rosen, albeit a new head coach with Danny Busum-Kelly, but they return a lot more than what Creighton's had, and it's been an up and down year for the Blue Jays. What are you expecting out of that matchup?
Yeah, this another kind of in the nightmare start in terms of just competition level for Brian Rosen to start his career. Creighton's 5-4 at this point, but and those losses are all to top 25 teams, and they lost to USC without one of their key players in Eloise Brandowy, and Jaya Johnson was playing sick. So they've just had some tough running into top 5 teams, top 10 teams, running into top 25 teams when they're not at full strength. So it's hard for them to kind of get those. Louisville, we just saw come to Omaha, and they beat them in the first set. They were up in the second and third and just weren't able to close it out. So at this point in the season, this is a Creighton team that is talented enough to compete with top teams. They've had a tough time getting over the hump late in games and closing those out. And so that's, I think, definitely an area where Nebraska has an edge just in their ability to close and finish. We've seen so far this year where they have had some close games late and made the big plays or got themselves holes and rallied to win it. Creighton hasn't quite been able to do that, but you've got a player like Ava Martin. Yeah. All Nebraska's attention is going to be on her because Creighton's still trying to figure out their secondary hitting options outside of her. Eloise Brandowy's off to a great – Kiara Reinhardt, as sixth-year senior, is going to be probably the other key here in terms of you looking at the scouting report based on her performance against Louisville, because if she's going to do that again, then that's going to cause Nebraska problems. So I'd say those two are probably the ones that will be at the top of the scouting report for Nebraska to deal with. But, yeah, it should be two teams that are familiar with each other. You've got native Nebraskans on both sides. So and CHI Health Center Omaha. Half Nebraska's matches have been in a big arena, so they should be very comfortable in that setting after playing at PBA twice and then down in Nashville playing in a big arena there as well.
All right, well, we'll have all your coverage on Hale Varsity and Hurrdat Sports. Make sure you follow along for all things Nebraska volleyball. Anna Bellinghausen and Jacob Padilla. We'll talk to you guys next time.